which is basically for now just me talking. And I know that I did this thing where I started the podcast, did a few episodes, and then disappeared for a little bit. Not for too long, right? A week or two. The thing that happened is that I had started it with the intention of having seasons and episodes. And then already before season one had ended, I got in my head about what is season two going to be? How is that going to be different? And then I realized that you really don't need to have seasons and episodes. You can just do recordings when you want them. All right. And so I got in my head a little bit. We're back. We're back. And today I want to talk about thought beliefs versus felt beliefs. Because, as you know, our beliefs are guiding and directing everything. But what some of us, we've gotten into a little bit of a pickle is that we think our beliefs are the ones that we think. So if I have spent a long time manifesting, not even manifesting, affirming a certain belief, let's say that I've spent a lot of time telling myself, I am the shizzles and I know how to do exactly what it is that I want to do and that I'm deserving of all good things and so on and so forth. Those are the beliefs that I have been facilitating in my beautiful mind. And therefore, I think that because those are the thoughts in my head, it means that that is what I believe. But if I say something and I in my head know to be true, but my body feels like it is fake, it's false, it's a lie, it's untrue, then I'm still going to take action in alignment with what I feel like. And then my beautiful, brilliant, logical mind is simply going to make up all of the excuses as to why we should act the way that I acted. And so I find myself in this very cute little predicament quite often. So that would be that I set an intention, right? I set an intention that is in alignment with the beliefs that I believe that I have, which is that I can do anything that I want to do. And then I go out into the world and I try to create this beautiful thing. And everything in my body and my feeling is telling me it's going to fail. It's going to fail. It's going to fail. It's going to fail. Because the felt belief is that things don't work out for me, even though my thought belief is that everything works out for me. Now, if I then show up into the world with the energy of it's not going to work, and if in my deepest part of myself, I feel like it's not going to work, or I'm not deserving of it working, or anything that's kind of going against the belief that I have in my head, then the energy I show up with is going to be received very, very differently, right? We don't listen as much to people where we believe that they don't believe it themselves, or we feel that energy of they don't feel like they deserve to take up the space, right? We know those people. It's like, you're here and you're saying these things, or you're trying to sell me this course, or you're talking about what you do, and there's just the energy and the feeling that I have from you is that I shouldn't pay attention, right? You've been around those people, and so they might have it in their heads that everyone deserves to have what it is that I have to offer, and everything that I offer is brilliant, and I do all of these incredible things, but the feeling, energy is very, very, very different. And the other thing is, if we deep down in our souls, I wouldn't say soul, but if we feel like it's not going to work, we're not deserving, so on and so forth, we are much quicker to stop, to give up, than if that feeling is fully embodied, that we're fully here, we're fully deserving, everything is going to go so well. We have full trust and belief in everything. And so what I like to do is to monitor what I actually feel like when I'm saying something. So if the thought is, this is going to be amazing and I totally am going to figure this out, but my body says, no, you're not, you liar. You know this is not going to work for you. It might work for other people, but not for you. We've had this discussion before. If that's how I feel, I know that I'm missing part of an embodied belief. And until I sit with and deal with that emotional belief, whatever I do is going to come from a place that is just a little bit lacking. That is just not going to be the energy that I want it to be. And I'm not saying that it's completely impossible to succeed when the feelings aren't right. I'm not saying that, because we obviously see it happening a lot. But if you are that kind of emotional, intuitive creature, and you are very much guided by how you feel, and you are very observant of how other people feel and what other people's energy is like, then that is just going to speak volumes. And so it might be that for some people, they're able to just really hit it out and just make it work. And it's just like, I'm just going to suck it up and run 100 miles per hour, and we're going to make it work. And it can work for them. I've seen it happen. Absolutely. I've even seen it happen for the people where I can feel there's something here. There is an energetic going on here, and still you've become really successful. It can absolutely be done. But I think for some of you, you know what I'm talking about, that you've been wanting and meaning to do something, and you've been given the blueprints, and you've been given the strategies, and you've been given the plans, and you've even been doing the mindset work, because we're all obsessed with mindset, right? We've been doing the mindset work, been monitoring our thoughts. We've been doing the thing about changing the words and saying it differently, and doing the daily affirmations and speaking it out loud and writing it in journals. And we've been doing all of that work, and it just seems to not be working still, because there's some sort of barrier that we just can't really put our fingers on. And so that is something I have had to sit with so much. I've had to sit with self-trust, right? Because I can tell myself, oh, you can work everything out. You have so much evidence that you've worked things out. You have so much evidence proving to you that you can do hard things, that you can do things that you thought you were never going to be able to do, and you did them anyway. And that's amazing. You got this, right? And then there's this feeling of, oh, but it's not going to work this time. The trust is not there. The love is not there. And what I've discovered is that self-trust is above self-love. And I want to use the word hierarchy, but that's not what it is. It's more like a ladder. It is that we need to get down to the root of everything, right? So let's use this beautiful money plant here. We have oh, you can't see that. I'm not going to use this one. You have a tree, right? And then you have the roots. And depending on how the way that this tree is going to bloom, the flowers, the branches, the leaves, everything comes down to the strength of the roots. And if the roots are a mess and they're not healthy, then what comes from the tree is also not going to look stable, healthy, beautiful. And so what I like to do is just get all the way down to the root of things. And self-love lies below self-trust. Self-trust is one of the branches. So if your self-love is lacking, how do you trust yourself? If you don't believe fully that in your own capability, if you believe that you're less than, if you believe that your words don't matter, that you need the opinions of others, that you need someone else to validate you, all of that comes down to whether you love yourself. So if you're trying to work only on self-trust, but the self-love is lacking, you're going to struggle to get that branch to fully grow. It's similar if you've been wanting to do a lot of money mindset work, money mindset, money energetics. And what you see is that you're doing the meditations or you're doing the affirmations and you're doing all of the energetic work around money, and you've been talking to yourself about receiving and deserving. But the root of it says you are not lovable, and therefore money will not come to you. It's very harsh words. I'm not the one who's saying it. Sometimes we tell ourselves, and sometimes we tell ourselves not with words, but with feeling, okay? And that's really where it separates. This whole conversation needs to be separated a little bit because it's already separated. We've already started talking about the words. We need to talk about the feelings because the feelings are so powerful, especially for feeling creatures such as myself. And so I noticed that whenever I would do this, I would have people send me money meditations and and I would sit and listen to it. And I'm like, something is not sitting right here. Something is not working because the root is not healthy. And so we need to work on the self love when we have full, true, not spoken, not journaling and affirmations without emotional connection. We have true self love with an emotional connection. That's when we can start building on top of that, by building self trust, by building all of the money energy, by building the skills, by building all of these things. If the root is rotten, nothing will work. The fertilizer will not work. The affirmations won't work. The journaling and the meditations, they won't work. Let's go down to the root of all of it. And I have found that when it comes to personal work, the root is very often self-love or lack thereof, right? It is usually the very bottom of that chain. And so when we truly work on that, when we truly get into feeling like we are deserving of love, that we are love, that we are these emotions, that we can give them freely. When we do that work, we can start building on top of it. The thing is that the thought beliefs are all the way up at the top, and that can very easily be pruned. And all the way at the top, it doesn't work if you have something that, if every single time you implement something, you implement the new plan, you hire a new coach, you get a new strategy, you have ChatGPT acting as your marketing manager and your brand strategist and all of that, and it gives you all of these incredible plans, and you write it all down, you have the Excel sheets, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that. But when you start implementing, you feel the resistance. When you start implementing, it stops feeling good. And it's like when you do implement and you do maybe some content or you do something that you're meant to do, you're cold calling or you're writing the emails, and it's like it feels like a struggle, and it feels like it's not going to work, and it feels unaligned, and it feels uncomfortable. And it's not to say that just because something is uncomfortable that you should just not do it, but it could mean that you have not fully connected to the thing that you're doing. And very often when you haven't fully connected to the thing that you're doing, it's because you haven't fully connected to yourself. And so for me, I have discovered, you see, I always think that I reach a point where I've graduated personal development by now. Like I regularly get to a spot where I'm like, I'm good, I fixed it. All of these issues that other people have with fears and worries and unprocessed stuff, not me, I'm done, right? I regularly think that I'm getting to that place. And I also know in my mind, when I'm at that place, means that soon I'm going to have a really big breakthrough that's going to show me that there's so much more work that is yet to be done, right? And what a blessing that is, because how boring would life be if we had figured it all out halfway through? Or even maybe even less than halfway through, right? I'm very optimistic about how long I'm going to be here. And so when it comes to this work of truly diving in and allowing myself to process me within me and sitting with me, which for some people is very uncomfortable because they think that all of them has to go to other people. You know yourselves out there. Some of you feel guilty about doing too much personal development work because you worry that it's too much time spent with yourself when you should be spending your time and your energy on other people. And those are the women out there, especially the moms, the wives. Listen, take this month of July to focus on you and to not live up to your programmed expectations in terms of what you should and shouldn't be doing When you are well, things around you are well. When you are well, your business does better. When you are well, your family feels better. When you are well, everything improves. Because you are also the root in your community. When the root is healthy, everything else blooms beautifully. And so I know we went around in many different places. And I know that I do this sometimes. And I start someplace and then we run to a million different places. And that's just what it is today. That is what this podcast is going to be like for a little bit longer until I may or may not figure stuff out. Okay? Have a beautiful, blessed weekend, everyone. Bye.